5 is good. Alex, are you going to see if somebody can help us? Okay. Good. Yeah, they're good. It's not bad. It's good. She's doing well. All kinds of changes. We had she's talking. It's just not making any sense. But she's yapping at me. So it's good. Yeah, I'm enjoying my time off from
That's great.
that.
Daddy's time.
Yeah, it's very fun.
Well, when do you have to go officially back to work?
End of June. So like the first two, I basically got to July was my first.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So it's so good.
We're trying to fix that. We've got a gentleman on Robert Orr, but.
Yeah, because I think one of the cases he'll be. Oh man.
Oh, we have it.
Hello. Well, look at this. How lucky are you?
Got a second.
Thank you, Yvonne.
You're welcome.
All right, we got technology working. Are we recording on YouTube? Okay, I'm going to go ahead and call this regular commission meeting to order on Tuesday, May 6th. We are 2 minutes late, which I hate, but we'll get rolling and catch up. Let's do a roll call. Alex or Britta, do you mind helping with that? Roll call.
Roll call. Commissioner Hall.
Here.
Commissioner McLean. Commissioner.
Is he online?
Is Ron on? Ron, are you there?
Get my microphone on.
I don't end it. Okay, we'll keep going then.
Commissioner Rigsby.
Here.
Commissioner Byers.
Here.
Commissioner Williams.
Here.
And Commissioner Richardson.
Here. Cool.
We have a quorum. Are there any conflicts of interest that need to be declared?
No, sir.
All right, let's go to the next one. Certification of compliance with Resolution 2025-01. Alex?
I do certify that we have done everything in need to be in compliance with Resolution 2025-01.
Excellent. All right, let's go to approval of agenda.
Make a motion to approve the agenda as presented.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any discussion? Seeing none, we'll move to a roll call vote.
Commissioner Richardson.
Yes.
Commissioner Williams.
Yes.
Commissioner Byers.
Aye.
Chairman Rigsby.
Aye.
Commissioner Hall.
Aye.
Great. So we have an agenda. Let's go to the first item on said agenda, the approval of minutes for our regular meeting on April 1st, 2025. Those were in your packet. Any changes or feedback?
I saw none. Make a motion to approve the meeting minutes from the regular meeting of April 1, 2025.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any discussion? Seeing none, we'll move to a roll call vote.
Commissioner Hall.
Aye.
Commissioner Rigsby.
Aye.
Commissioner Byers.
Aye.
Commissioner Williams.
Aye.
And Commissioner Richardson.
Aye.
Awesome. All right, let's move to number 5 on our list, public input. So at this time, we'll open it up for public input for anybody that wants to comment. To be clear, this is for any items that are not currently listed on our agenda and that should be brought before the commission. If you're here to talk about one of the items that are on our agenda, you'll have your opportunity to say your piece. But now would be the time to bring anything to our attention. Seeing none, we'll go ahead and close public input and move to our quasi-judicial public hearing with 6A, the site plan approval, concept approval for SP 2025-54. Alex, what can you tell us about this item?
Thank you, Chairman. So this is a request for approval of a site plan and a concept plan. The proposed use of the property would be for a general contractor's office. The applicant is here this afternoon, as well as, I believe he has a consultant here as well, so they would be able to answer any, give more color to the request.
Great. If the applicants and whoever would come on down up front, tell us a little bit about what you're hoping to do. And then we'll have you both raise your right hand, say your name, say you'll tell them the truth, nothing but the truth. We'll start with you, sir.
My hand?
Okay, perfect, thank you.
Mark Younger, I'm the agent. I swear to tell the truth.
Okay, great, thank you. And you got the mic on?
Yes.
Okay. Excellent. So what are you guys looking to do? I think it's a site plan that we're looking at?
Yeah, it's just an approval for a standard use in a C, oh geez, I can't read it. What is it, C1?
C2.
C2, yeah. So it's going to be access not off, this lot goes between Bonanza Drive and to Meacham. We're only going to be accessing it from Bonanza at this point. So, yeah, just a contractor's office is what we're building there.
The access is going to be from Meacham or from Bonanza, I'm sorry?
From Bonanza.
Okay. I see that. Okay. Any other items that you would want to address there or discuss for this site plan?
No.
Okay. Sounds good. Well, we'll, if y'all will stay close, we'll open it up for public comment. If there's anybody that would like to speak for or against or have questions for the applicant, this is the opportunity for the public to make comment. Okay. Seeing none, we'll close public comment and we'll move to commissioner questions. Commissioners, what questions do you have for the applicant? I believe we have a survey with where the building is supposed to be, and then some renderings potentially of what the building will look like. What questions do we have for the applicant? I guess, yeah, go ahead, Bill.
I guess the question I got looking at the photos is it looks like they've already done grading. Is not a grading permit required before you start doing work?
Yes, grading permit was obtained before starting this project.
Okay, so where in the process, you've got your grading for a site plan that isn't approved, so how do you get a grading permit?
We submitted a site plan and it was approved.
Is that
To the
okay?
staff. I think that this might be a question.
Yeah.
That's a
Staff
question for the
process.
staff, I guess. I mean,
Yeah.
Yes,
I'm a
they're-
little, if it's already approved, why are we here today?
So the grading permit was approved with a generalized site plan. That was not approved, but the grading plan was approved to let them get going.
Okay, it's
Does
just,
that answer your question?
no, it doesn't answer the question.
I think why have two approvals? If you all approve it in administrative review, I know that by the process, it does need to come to us, but shouldn't it come before any construction is done? Michael or Alex, any
Yeah,
comment?
I do agree with that, and we are making an adjustment to our process so that this does not happen again.
Okay.
Yeah.
That answers my question.
So, and the second part of that is, under the current process, all grading approvals are allowed as long as there isn't any direct impact from the site plan. Site plans, as per the code, had to come to you for review and approval based on the requirements that meet P and Z, and so that's why that's there. So when Alex said we're making those changes, it's to streamline that policy.
Streamline it, okay, yeah, I prefer streamlined, yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
For the applicant, I think the only question that I had, the siding material that you're planning on using for the building, is that a metal material or what do you?
It's Hardy board.
Hardy siding, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so but it'll be this brown color is what you're thinking about, but Hardy backer or Hardy board? Okay. I think that answers that question that I had, because I was going to ask about mixed metals or materials. The other question I had, on the site plan, there's no clear outline of screening between the commercial space and the residential. So I know you're going to be coming into Bonanza, or coming into the site from Bonanza. Is there a plan for any screening of the building between Bonanza and then, I believe it is M1 behind it, or residential?
Yeah, it's residential behind it.
Yeah, I believe M1 is correct. And yeah, we've also submitted a landscaping plan. It was just before this, or it was after this packet was created.
Okay.
And I believe that's also part of the conditions at the end of the report.
There it is.
Is there gonna be any equipment storage on that site?
No, it's going to be inside the equipment.
Just parking in the building, no construction equipment, construction-related paraphernalia or anything like that?
Yeah, there'll be large overhead doors in the building, so it'll be inside.
Everything will be
hidden.
internal, yeah.
Doors in either,
Okay.
yeah.
One of the other things I noticed on the impact statement, they said there's no sewer, but you show bathroom and facilities in the building. Is there a plan to connect to the sewer?
No, since the sewer is across the street, Mitcham, in Dollar General, it's really far. So I contact Mountain Top, Jay Sensor, so he gave me already a plan for have a sewer.
Septic.
Septic
sorry.
system, okay. Is that something, Alex, is that something that you guys would review and decide whether that's acceptable or not? I mean, it's in the impact statement.
That would come through our Public Works Department for them to be sure that that is sufficient.
That
I
answered my
didn't
question.
think we were approving any more septic systems
So if you're not approving septic systems, they have to come up with a plan to connect to a septic system,
to
Yeah.
sewer, yeah.
to sewer. So that won't be, you can't have you'll have to connect to the sewer.
Is that, the no approval, is that from,
Public Works will actually look at the review on the connection to sewer. So once this is a plan for the site review, they'll get the review on that component to verify, and they'll let them know what those requirements are going to be.
okay, but for our
For your purpose,
edification and
that-
knowledge,
It's already acknowledged in the impact statements, and they have to resolve that to get the permit.
correct, to move forward.
To move forward. Okay, that's,
but the no sewer, or the no septic, is that from council that said we're not going to approve that anymore, or is that just,
I need to
Staff
double
policy?
check. No, that is actually per ordinance. So if it's water and sewer, if there's anything within 300, and this is the verification part that they'll do, is there anything within 300 feet of the property line, they would have to connect to both water and sewer. But I'll make sure they double check that or verify that it pertains to this commercial property or to this specific property. I know it's specific to certain areas, mostly residential, but they'll verify that and sign off on that.
okay.
My biggest concern that I can see in these photos is the lack of a silt fence. And, at this point, we hadn't had any moisture, but
It's coming.
should be, it needs one.
yeah, I think Bart, I think they noted that in the impact report. Hang on, let me, I think,
Need erosion control.
yeah, need erosion control. So that's part of what they'd have to satisfy going forward, because it's in the impact
That would
report.
need to be a retaining wall across that front. How much did you raise that elevation in order to flatten it out to Bonanza?
It's certainly not more than the allowed 2-to-1 slope that does not require a retaining wall. I don't think that'll be an issue.
Yeah, this
I
could
mean,
be
I'm
rip
comparing it to other, like, you can see this sitting here and compared to, that's at least 20 feet, right? Yeah. Or, you don't think, huh?
I mean, it can be any height, I believe, per code, as long as it meets the 2-to-1
Right,
slope.
Yeah, and you don't have an entrance
As
on
long as
Meacham,
it's a
so you're
slope.
using all that for your slope.
Unmuted myself, but I've been able to hear them.
or something like that, but,
Otherwise,
Would you be able to mute him, Bridget?
So what kind of traffic? Just car traffic? You have some, like bobtail truck traffic? You said you had roll-up doors coming in there, so what sort of traffic is going to come off of Bonanza? Since that's more of a residential street.
2 or 3 of my employees.
I'm sorry?
Yeah, mostly just normal vehicles, trucks, construction stuff, not large.
No,
heavy
no
equipment.
big trucks?
I guess that comes
No,
from
it's
my question.
primarily residential construction that Maddie does.
Okay.
You have in here that you'll be using it as well for equipment storage? Does
right.
that mean like forklifts and,
Yeah, a crane, skid steers.
But
The
all,
intention is, I'm parked right now at the place I live, so I'm using my street pretty much, park, so I'm trying to put all together right there, do my maintenance, just in one place.
and are they, these storage, I see the 2 doors going up. Are you going to store them inside the building, or are you going to park them
Inside the
around?
building.
Inside the building? So there won't be any exterior storage of equipment of that size, vehicles and that kind of stuff. I don't quite understand how you can have 2 roll-up doors and have the parking spots aligned like you do. Because there's no back entry to that building.
Yeah, so the parking is just the requirement of the planning and zoning, layout stuff, the development plan. In actual fact, this is not for public parking, this is all private stuff. So if a door needs to be used, he'll just talk to his employee, they'll move the vehicle and go in and out. But I think the interior storage, for the most part, is gonna be evening storage anyway.
Other questions?
I'm good.
Okay. If that's the case, I would entertain a motion or comments from the commission.
yeah, I would think just adding an additional condition that no outside equipment storage. We went through this with several places, other places, and, that's, if there's not adequate screening, and like I said, it just gets to be, looks like a mess. And we've dealt with that before, so, if we could put the additional condition that there's no outside equipment storage other than vehicles, I don't have a problem with it.
Okay.
Do it.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Y'all good with that?
Yeah.
I'm good.
All right. I would entertain a motion then, Bill.
All right, based on the foregoing.
Excuse me, so I was distracted. Did we do a public hearing?
That
Yes.
already happened.
Okay,
Open,
thank you,
closed.
okay, I'm sorry.
Don't worry about it. No, all good.
You okay?
It's okay.
Go ahead.
Based upon the foregoing findings of fact per 54-100 and 54-67 of the Village Code, I move to grant the requested site plan and concept approval for case number SP 2025-54 with the conditions stated in the case report and the additional added condition of no outside equipment storage on site.
Great.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any discussion? Seeing none, we'll move to a roll call vote.
Commissioner Richardson?
Aye.
Commissioner Williams?
Aye.
Commissioner Byers?
Aye.
Commissioner Hall?
Aye.
Commissioner Rigsby?
Aye. You get your site plan. Looking forward to it.
Thank you.
Yeah. I'm sure your neighbors are happy that the stuff will be off the street, too. All right, let's move on to the next one. This is a variance case, PV 2025-57. Alex, what can you tell us about this?
This is a variance request for a replacement of an existing garage that would keep the current setback from the front. So they were looking to have a slightly larger garage, and so that is the reason for this request.
Gotcha. And so it's a variance into a front yard setback. It looks like the applicant is online. Mr. Orr,
I am here.
Okay, great. Sir, we'll hear from you now. If you don't mind raising your right hand, say you'll tell the truth, nothing but the truth.
I, Robert Orr, will tell the truth and nothing but the truth.
Great, thank you, Mr. Orr. Where are you calling in from?
Georgia.
Okay,
I'm on my way to 2 graduations.
well, that's fun.
Congratulations, too.
Well, I'm glad, thank you for taking the time to meet with us as you're traveling. What would you like to do? I think Alex gave us a little bit of an overview, but maybe you can provide some more color.
We would like to put the footings for the garage on the street side, exactly where they are right now, and add about 2 feet away from the road to widen the garage.
Okay,
My mother had a 2000 and something, early 2000 Honda Accord that fit nicely, and now she has a, I think, 2018 Subaru Outback, and she can't really get out of the car in the garage.
That's a problem.
yeah,
That
okay.
is.
So you're looking to keep the front setback as it is existing and then rebuild the garage in a larger state.
But it was a carport, so close
Okay.
it.
Awesome. Anything else that you would like to add to this application?
Nothing that I didn't put in the application.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Orr. At this time, we're going to open it up to public comment to see if anybody would want to comment for or against this. I think everybody else is an applicant, so we'll go ahead and close it. But Alex, did we send out letters? Can you give us updates on that? I think Steph said there was no written feedback, but.
Put it into the record. Yes, we did send out, on this case, 16 letters were mailed. There were 0 that were returned back to us for insufficient addressing, and we received 0 comments.
Great. All right. Commissioners, at this time, we'll go ahead and close public comment and then open it up to you all for questions for the applicant.
I guess it's more a staff question. I mean, that was a carport, and it obviously was an enclosed carport. When did they get the variance to make it a garage? Is that in the history of this property?
We were unaware of anything that came up when we were looking for any kind of variance for this. The assumption might be that this was all constructed before that we had any zoning controls.
Do we know when this
I also
building,
think that's true.
do we know when this building was constructed?
For some reason, I think it was in the 70s, but it's probably not quite that old.
Yeah, if it was in the 70s, it predates.
It predates, yeah.
Yeah.
So that means it's grandfathered in, but only as a carport, right?
But only as a carport and in the existing footprint. And so the variance comes when they tried to change the footprint and usage. Mr. Orr, did you explore placing a garage or a carport in other locations on this property?
I did. Away from the street side is a brick patio that is the only outside, well, is the best outside usable area for, I don't know, for sitting outside when it's pretty,
Yeah.
both weeks. The patio is on filled dirt, so I'm not really convinced that we could put a car on it if we moved it that way. Plus, if you look at the alignment of the driveway, if we move it away from the road, it will complicate getting into and out of the garage more than I think we're willing to do.
Yeah. And the house is built in the setback.
Yes,
correct?
it's also in the wrong.
Right. Well, we've
Been that way since day one, as far as I know.
Yeah.
And it, on that backside of the slope, it drops off based off this elevation map that we have. Can you attest to how quickly it drops or steeply it drops?
next to the house, it's probably more than 12 feet at the back of the house. And then more than that as you go further down the hill.
Yeah.
From the front of the house to the back of the house, I would say it's about 12 feet.
Okay. The height of the carport, is it gonna be much higher? Because right now, looking at it from the street view, it looks like you can't really even see the garage or carport. You just see the
Aaron.
roof of it.
Okay, excuse me. Our intent is not to do anything. Right now, it's an A-frame that matches the shingles on the house.
Yeah.
We're gonna make it into a rectangular box that matches the siding on the house, which is wood.
Okay.
But I don't think it needs to be any higher than it is.
Okay. Yeah, I think that was more so what I was getting at. You aren't gonna put a 20-foot carport
No, thank
garage.
you. My mother won't let me get on a ladder.
Commissioners, what other questions do you have for the applicant?
I guess it's more for the staff and understanding the code. As I understand it, when you have pre-code things that are in existence, if you're going to build something, now that code's enforced, you have to comply with the existing code. Am I mistaken on that, or is that what it is?
No, you're not.
So, in reality, a garage you can't put in a setback, am I correct?
You're correct, and I think that's why he's asking for the variance.
Okay, but you can put a carport.
Absolutely. If we can't do this, the existing garage stays where it is.
Yeah, and I think the intent is for this variance to be able to utilize the space and, you know, there's the, how we can grant variances with if there's a hardship on the physical
On the
property.
lot. And that's-
Well, the hardship is the fact that it was built into the house and all were built in the setback
Yeah.
prior to any setbacks.
Yeah,
And that was beyond their,
But the way the code is written, if you do new construction, you have to comply with the new ordinances,
or you ask for the variance.
or you ask for the variance.
Right, and the variance comes into place, is there a physical hardship related to the characteristics of the land?
Well, there's not if you put a carport in there instead of that, and then you don't have to worry about garage carport. You can move the footings for the carport, and you've got what you need, and you don't have a closed building in a setback.
Would that be the staff's interpretation? If he puts a carport, there wouldn't need to be for a variance?
I'll let you go with.
Yes.
Okay.
And just for clarification, Chairman Rigsby and Commissioner Hall, you're correct. So if the way the code reads, we would need to find those requirements. If something was pre-existing the code, it obviously still stays, but once new construction occurs, it would be that requirement. Hence, the request for the variance. In this case, the evaluation of the variance is whether it meets the hardship component, so.
Yep. And I think staff said that, what was the staff recommendation, Alex? We didn't really talk about this on the last site approval, but
So yes, the staff recommendation is for the approval because of the topography that limits the buildable areas on the site, as well as with the topography also being lower than the road, that there is also not an anticipated negative impact to visibility with the new structure being placed there.
yep.
That's a yes.
Commissioners, what are your thoughts, comments, questions for the applicant? Any additional information that we need?
I get it as far as, he's not asking for, because the house being where it's at, if the house were in the setbacks and all, and then there's no hardship in that regard. But the way the whole thing's laid out and built, it's,
But if you're only looking at, the applicant said they're only gonna move the footings 2 feet from where they are, you can put a carport in there instead of garage, and you don't need a variance, and you don't set a precedent. That's my view, for what it's worth.
In the past, we've held everyone else to the same standards. I don't know, like you say, we're going to set a precedent. I mean, if it was a burn down, I could see a little bit better variance, but it's not. It's an existing structure. Yeah, it doesn't fit what it's intended to do at this point, but if we allow it to go, then it could allow a whole lot of other things down the road that could cause us trouble up here and in
Could.
the office.
On the other hand, it could improve, I mean,
It
the
could,
building that's there is not, it's marginal.
sure. Oh, I see.
New
Amen.
building would be, yeah, it would be up to
I
the,
see it both ways. I see both ways here. It's a
yeah.
tough one.
And
That's why we have you on the board, Josh, to make
Thank you
a
very much.
determination on this.
So glad I can make it here.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Any other comments, folks, for or against thought process for the commission?
I'm with Bill. I think, a carport is the logical answer. It's not a cover, I mean, it's not a enclosed building, but it is an option. You could always leave this building here and just put a carport in front of it. And that way you could leave this building for some sort of tool shed or whatever. It would also block the wind from the west onto the
If-
carport.
If I put a carport in front of the garage, I will not be able to get to the patio when the car's in the carport.
Okay.
The driveway is about 14 feet, I think. It's pretty narrow.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Orr. Is there a motion then, guys, or is there I mean, we got to take an action on this variance one way or another. Is there another comment?
Laid it out, just got to make a decision. You want me to do it? I can do it.
If there's a motion, unless folks need other comments or information from the applicant.
Go ahead, Bill.
Based upon the foregoing findings of fact per 54-92, 54-66, and 54-140 of the Village Code, I move to grant the requested variance for case number PV-2025-57 with the conditions stated in the case report.
I have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any other comments, discussion? Seeing none, we'll move to a roll call vote.
Commissioner Richardson,
Nay.
Commissioner Williams,
Aye.
Commissioner Byers,
Aye.
Commissioner Hall,
Nay.
Commissioner Rigsby.
I made that comment about Josh, and now I gotta make the decision.
There you go, bud.
Um,
So I will remind the commission that in order for a variance to pass, it needs 2/3 of the members present to approve that, which would require 4 votes.
Okay. I would say nay. But I don't think it makes a difference because we don't have the 2/3.
And with, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, to pass.
Was a pass.
So
So
yeah,
that-
so there's no variance, yeah, it doesn't mean,
Now we're split half and half.
uh-huh. Yeah.
It's 3-2.
3-2, it doesn't pass. And even if I said yay, yes, it wouldn't pass because of the quorum. Mr. Orr, so the motion did not carry.
I understand the existing garage will probably stay right where it is, ugly as it is.
I understand. Thank you, sir. Thank
Sorry.
you for your time. Staff will get with you to talk next steps or et cetera. So
All
I
right.
appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you much, sir.
I think the reason being is that there was alternative parking options and to not set precedent for variances, especially to that degree, for the record of why there was a nay vote. Josh?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
I
sir.
second
Okay.
that.
Second that.
All right. Thank you. Thank you for your time, Mr. Orr. Have fun at the graduations.
sir.
Thanks for being here.
Goodbye.
Yep. All right, let's move on to the next item. Variance case 2025-58. What do we have going on here?
This is a request for a variance to encroach 1.5 feet into the 20-foot corner lot setback. This would enclose, if granted, would allow for the enclosure of an existing carport to create a garage. This carport is integrated into the footprint of the house and is not a freestanding structure.
Great, thank you. And I think both Mr. Younger and the applicant are here, is that correct? Yeah, anybody that would want to speak? Okay. Sounds great. If you'll both raise your hand, we already swore you in, Mr. Younger, but, sir, if you don't mind stating your name and,
Berlani, I promise to say the whole truth, nothing but the truth.
thank you, sir. Brilani?
Berlanti.
Berlanti. All right, thank you, Mr. Berlanti. Tell us a little bit about what you'd like to see or the applicant would like to see from this variance.
This is an existing carport that's been there forever. All we want to do is enclose this and make a garage. He has an issue with drainage, so we're hoping that this will enclose that drainage and kind of shed it around. He did put a French drain in already, but we're just gonna close the existing carport and make it into a garage. It will be stuccoed like the house, have a 16-foot door, insulated door.
Okay. Thank you. Anything else to add, Mr. Younger?
Yeah, I mean, we certainly looked at just cutting 1.5 feet off this, but it's not really practical because the existing roof is already there and it's a trussed roof. It's in good shape and it seems crazy to do that. Another point that I tried to highlight with the site plan that I submitted is that although it's basically 18.6 feet to the property line, to the actual road, the asphalt, it's 46, over 46 feet. So, yeah, we're technically encroaching on the setback, but in reality, we're a long way away from any sight lines that could be obstructed.
Okay. Thank you. At this time, we'll go, unless there's other items that you'd want to add, we'll open it up to public comment.
I have a question or a comment.
Yeah.
This was approved originally 6 months ago. Mr. Younger took it to the village and said, hey, can we do this? They signed off on it, said, yeah, you can do it. Well, he came to me, he said, hey, I got a great job for you. There's a deck and a garage. I said, okay. So I bought the door and I bought the windows, thinking that this was already approved. Well, then we had a meeting with Mr. Alex and the manager, and he said, no, you have to have a variance. Even though they signed off on this 6 months ago and said, yes, this can be done.
So.
We have a signature on that paper.
So, Chairman Rigsby and Commission, the email that was signed off on was specifically for the deck. We had this meeting. It goes into depth on what the discussion was. We can share that information with the rest of the commission. They can evaluate it on their own behalf. But the staff has determined that the information that was provided was in fact related to the deck itself. There was some miscommunication as to how that information was shared from the chief building inspector to that individual. We are very aware that that was an issue that needed to be addressed and has been addressed, but it was in reference specifically to the deck, not the structure itself.
Just to clarify, to make this part of the public record, I wasn't going to bring this up, but
I did, I'm
since,
sorry.
that's fine. What you said was factually incorrect. And I would like the email shared with you guys since we're doing this. The email was very specifically talking about the deck addition and the garage addition. It's laid out in black and white, and it was signed off, literally signed off by the planning department. So
Okay.
that's an error. It was literally stated.
Okay. Thank you for that information. We'll take this assessment for today, and then if we need to go into that record, we can go into that record from here. But we'll evaluate just based off of the case report in front of us if
Absolutely.
and other information as needed where it makes sense. But at this time, I'll open it up to anybody else for comment. If not, we'll close public comment, and then we'll get into commissioners. Alex, did we send out letters? What was the response, et cetera?
There were 19 letters mailed, 0 returned, and 0 responses back.
Okay, excellent. And then, Alex, do you want to, I'm going to go ahead and close public comment and then open it up. Do you want to go ahead and give the staff summary and assessment.
As noted, this is currently an open carport. It is on a corner lot. Also, due to the need for the variance is due to the change of the structure type to change it to a garage. Also, because the right-of-way, as Mr. Younger noted, is a significant distance, the pavement is actually a significant distance from the actual structure. There is not a negative impact to visibility or pedestrian or vehicular traffic, and therefore we recommend approval of the variance request.
Thank you. Commissioners, what questions for the applicant?
I have a question.
Yeah.
Always have a question. On the side toward the Rowan Road side, it's not marked, but what's the distance there,
In all cases on that side, it exceeds the setback,
which is,
20 foot.
right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. One comment that I'll make is that when we did the 54 rewrite, we changed the front setbacks to 15 feet. The only reason that we're talking about this one is because it's a corner.
lot, yeah.
Exactly. And I think that's, the reason we didn't change that was to ensure that there was no issues turning into another road. And I think that that's the primary thing that I would look for, is that there's no potential impact. The comment that I will ask the applicants, what's the distance between that outer edge of the carport and what appears to be an enclosed space already inside of that carport? I'm basing this off of this image here. You see, it might just be a bad image, but like this is the carport in question, right?
Yes.
And it looks like there's already a structure in the middle of it.
Like a storage closet in there. Yeah.
It's
storage
under the roof,
closet.
it's under the existing roof.
Okay.
Scissor truss.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's on the back side of it, or, okay.
Yes, sir.
And that's foundations, like, is that a set stone shed, or is it,
It's on a slab.
it's on slab?
Yeah, yeah.
Footings with the slab,
So
existing,
what's the distance from that shed to the edge of the carport?
almost 19 feet.
No, he means, I think.
It looks like 2 feet, basically,
Oh,
from
from
the
the
storage.
edge. Oh, yeah.
No, it's more than that. I can,
From the corner,
I have it on the plan,
Okay.
actually.
it's like,
Because it just looks as though it takes up most of the carport anyways, so.
I believe there's like
Yeah.
3-foot return on either side, aren't there?
You can see it right there. You mean this distance? right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's approaching, it's 4 or 5 feet.
Okay.
Yeah.
All
So
right.
this distance here is 5.4 feet, so I would say it probably is 5.5 feet.
Okay.
So is the,
He's talking about this distance.
Oh, I see.
yeah, the perception, yeah.
It looks like it's all the way up to the front, and that's why I was like, it looks like it's enclosed already, so,
Yeah.
okay, thank you.
Yeah.
All right, so it should have been, for clarity,
And is there a question, Josh? Sorry, 1 second, Bill. Folks, we'll have to either bring that up in public comment, or do you want to ask the question, Josh?
I'll ask a question here, go ahead. So with it being a carport originally, and now it to be a garage, the slab, are we sure there's beams underneath that slab, or is it just a 4-inch slab that's,
Yeah, so what we're doing is we're building infill walls. We're not putting any load on the slab. So we're leaving the existing posts in place and we're moving, we're placing windows where it's just an infill wall. So the entire roof system and the posts will stay in place and stay as they are.
Thanks.
question for you on the 18.58 feet that you, on the plan that's in our documents here. Is that to like the edge of the roof? Is that the edge of the where is that distance to? Is it to a pillar, is it to?
Yeah, so that's to the proposed corner, the corner of the proposed addition. So in Rudoso, that is not the eave, that's the corner of the
That's the
building.
corner of the proposed addition.
That's
So
right.
the eave actually, right now, still hangs over, I'm trying to.
That's right.
Hangs over in.
Yeah, but in the village, I think Alto is the only place I've heard of in the world that counts eaves
Well, that's why I'm asking.
Yeah.
I just need clarity.
Yeah, so currently, that's also, that distance is shared by the proposed building and also the existing post.
Okay.
So it would estimate 16 inches is probably what the eve is,
Is already over into.
That's right.
Okay.
yes.
And the corners were, clarity, the corner offsets were 20 feet? Is that
20
what
feet.
it's supposed to be?
Yes.
For a corner.
And
For a corner, okay.
Yeah, it's all
Chairman-
weird because it's a corner, because he's hitting the side setback technically, but it's the front.
It's that front corner, it's just that one corner of the.
Yes.
Okay.
I, at one point, worked out square footage, it's somewhere around 10 square feet maybe. It's
That actually
tiny.
is, yeah, okay.
Chairman Rigsby and Commissioners, one of the items that we had initially reviewed, but it hadn't been worked on through 54, was that initial spacing of how much of a gap was allowed to be for the planning administrator to give leeway on. We thought that this would be one of those that qualified had that been something that had passed on that corner lot. So I'd also like to make that comment as well.
Okay, thank you. The 46 feet from the paved area, that's just right-of-way easement that the village has? There's no plans for a 4-lane highway on Lower Terrace?
We are considering it, but it's not till 2056.
Until we're all not worried about it? and-
No room there.
So
Okay.
just point of clarification, just right quick on the question I asked earlier, with this being turned into a garage, would it have to be brought up to code if there wasn't beams under this edge of the slab, to have beams under the slab? Or if it's just a 4-inch slab as a carport, is it going to be permissible? I mean,
Because it's unheated space, it doesn't need to meet the frost line requirement of 20 inches, so a slab would be fine. The spot footings under each post meet the requirements for the trusses, the truss roof that's there
And
right now.
you've provided those on the
okay,
documentation.
that's
Yes, sir.
what I want to make sure.
Yeah.
Other questions for the applicant? Thoughts?
I think it's attached to the house, right?
Yes.
Okay, so it's not a separate building, okay, so it's attached to the house, okay.
It would be stuccoed like the rest of the house.
Okay. That's what I was trying to.
Done?
Thoughts, comments, motion?
Motion. Mr. Chairman, based upon the foregoing findings, fact 54-92, 54-66, and 54-140 of the village code, I move to grant the requested variance for case PV-2025-58 with the conditions stated in the case report.
Motion, is there, we got a second? Any discussion or last comments? Seeing none, we'll move to a roll call vote.
Commissioner Hall,
Yes,
Commissioner Byers,
Aye.
Commissioner Williams,
Aye.
Commissioner Richardson,
Aye.
Commissioner Rigsby.
Aye. You have your variance, so.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
yeah, because that
The
would have,
hardest 10 feet they'll probably arrive.
if they had.
Yes, sir.
Yes. I think we don't need to state why this was approved, but do you think it'd be good for the record? I think because we've already deferred administrative review to the 25%, I think it is, or we voted on that, that's approved now. It just fell at the wrong time. The other item that I'll add, there was no negative impact, even though it was a corner lot, on visibility.
Yeah, it's already an existing structure. It's just,
Existing and it
we're just putting walls up there.
Exactly.
And it was attached to the,
Not a heated space.
Yes,
Yeah.
okay. So just to be clear that it is a unique situation in that regard. All right, let's move on.
Not like
Glad we got that sorted out.
Yes, sir.
Don't need to do email deep dives, which is good. Let's move on to the last one, which is a conditional use for a food truck at Ski Ruidoso. Alex, what do you want to tell us about this?
You pretty much hit that right there. There is a request for a food truck that would be operating at 1133 Meacham is the actual address. Conjunction with Ski Ruidoso. There was a previous approval that he had several years back that was conditioned upon it being renewed every 6 months. That did not happen, and so now he is back for this new request.
Great. Come on down and tell us what you're looking to do. I think we got a good idea, but maybe you can tell us a little bit more.
Okay, my name's Jim Concha.
You'll tell the truth?
Tell the truth.
All right,
Nothing
thank you,
but.
Mr. Concha.
What I've got going on is the roasted corn factory. Originally, it was a metal frame stand, which everything burnt in the fire. So now I've moved everything into the trailer. Everything's self-contained. I think you have the photos, maybe.
We have a rough site plan idea, but I don't think we have any photos for the record. This is all we have. Unless it was shared later. I might have had an older version. No photos, Alex? Okay. Do you have photos with you or no?
Shoot, I might have some on my phone.
It's okay.
No, it's all right.
Anyways, it's basically gonna be set up during Dano's, off-season in between summer and, November,
Okay.
when he opens up. It's roasted corn, lemonade, basically just kind of a summer treat. People pull in. I had it, set up there before and it had good traffic. And that's it. No other, prepared food, no burgers, tacos, anything of that nature.
Okay. Thank you. And it says in your application, you plan to be open 7 days a week, 8 hours a day?
Try to.
Okay. All right.
Closing, but whatever the, is it 9 o'clock, 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock is the,
10.
I think in that neighborhood,
7 to
or
10.
7 to 10 is that
oh, okay.
zone. Great. Alex, anything to add? I'll open it up to public comment. Nobody else is here, so it's kind of just us talking to ourselves. So I'll close public comment. Alex, any feedback on the letters mailed?
Sure. We did send out, let me get the right one up here. We sent out 14 letters. No responses were received and 0 were returned.
Okay. Do you want to do the staff summary and findings, Alex?
Yes. So again, would note that there was the previous for fruit stand was issued for this in 2018. That has lapsed. The applicant is requesting to be operating 7 days a week. However, when looking at what the operations associated with the ski shop, those are found to be Wednesday 3 to 6, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, with specific hours. Thursday, Friday would be 8 to 6, and Saturday, Sunday, 7 to 6, closed on Monday and Tuesday. So the request to operate outside of the normal business hours of the associated primary business should not be granted, as that is reason for that being that the business is to provide restroom facilities. And also it's not located within 300 feet of a public restroom. So therefore, we do recommend if the commission is inclined to grant the conditional use, that it align with the operation hours of the Ski Burrito shop.
Okay, thank you for those details. Commissioner's question for the applicant.
So I guess if you want to hold him to the hours of the ski shop, he would not be required to provide bathrooms?
Yes.
So I have access to the building, which has the restrooms.
So, Chairman Rigsby and Commissioners, all of the other food trucks that we do have to tie back to the operating centers that we have placed them on. So whether it be an arcade, whether it be a leather store, whatever the case may be, those have been your previous judgments. This would change precedent moving forward.
Okay.
So I guess my question is, you said it was in between summer to November, so the ski shop isn't open during the summer?
His business license is yearly, so he's there selling shirts.
So the business is there,
Yes.
and it is open, okay,
Yes.
okay.
Is the original business license for the ski shop, is it a 7-day-a-week license, or is that what you just stated, just those 5 days or 4 days?
That would be what we found on the website. There would not be any necessary on the business license that would not restrict certain hours.
So if he's open, if he changes his hours, I mean, my website's not very good either, but, that's my fault, but, so if he's open, then this man should be able to sell corn? That's what we're saying.
Yeah.
So, okay.
It would just be up to the
Yes,
business
that is
being
the case.
open.
The business would
So
have.
his hours on the website are set, being a summer thing and it's light and we have more people in town, would I be able to extend my hours?
Your hours right now would be in conjunction of the business that you're operating on, so that would be the limitation.
When the business is open, you're open. If the business isn't open, you're not open. That's it in simple terms.
guess
I
that's
will ask the staff this question. All of our mobile vending has been in conjunction with the business. What happens to those mobile vendings when said business changes or alters?
Chairman Rigsby and Commissioners, those items would then come back to you because the licensing that you had handed out at that point in time would be invalidated. And so if something was sold, and we've had this scenario where something was sold, but the hours were still kept the same, that license was kept the same, the operation was kept the same, the license type, so we just continued those services, but they are reflective of whatever the operating hours are of that primary business.
Okay. But if there is what's the process for that? So I assume he's going to operate when Ski Verdoso is open, and I assume we won't need to do much follow-up on that, but say him or anybody else that has a mobile vending changes the rules that we offer to them, what's the process?
We've had situations where, one or more of those primary businesses did in fact close and the food component was open. Code compliance did make a visit and let them know what those requirements were. They did have to shut down until the business did reopen.
Okay. The other question that I'll ask is if there is a material change in the primary business, like what is that level? Might be mobile vending that we have today that was in association of an amusement park that was the example given earlier. What happens if they are no longer operating that amusement park and it's just purely a food truck business or an event venue, for an example?
That would require to come back for a new conditional because they would not be meeting the conditions of the approval. So they would have to come back for a new approval.
Sounds good.
So I think all we had to say is if we approve this, the stated conditions would be he's operating as long as the primary business is operating.
Correct. Yep.
That was noted in the conditions
Right.
in the staff report.
Yes, sir.
Yep. Thank you. Those are all the questions I have.
Okay.
I do have a suggestion or maybe something so I do have a question. I lied to you. I'm so sorry. The 3 spots, the 1, 2, 3, the handicap spots behind the trailer,
Still accessible.
and they can still there'll be enough room. It's hard to tell from this to scale drawing or not to scale drawing in the photos, but they'll be able to back out of those spots even with the trailer.
Sorry. Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
Mr. Commissioner, Mr. Chairman, I'm sorry, based upon the foregoing findings of fact 54-68, 54-150, 54-100 of the Village Code, I move to grant the requested conditional use approval for case CU 2025-61 with the conditions stated in the case report.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any discussion? Seeing none, we'll move to a roll call vote.
Commissioner Hall,
Yes.
Commissioner Byers,
Aye.
Commissioner Williams,
Aye.
Commissioner Richardson,
Aye.
Commissioner Rigsby.
Aye. You have your food truck.
There
Looking
you go.
forward to it. There's not enough snacks over there on that side of
There
town,
you
in
go.
my opinion.
That's right. Who doesn't want to have?
That's right.
All right, y'all. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for your patience today and sticking with us.
Chairman Rigsby and Commission, just a quick follow up on the initial comments that I had made on some of the sewer items. So I did double check with our Public Works Director. So as long as in your packet, it's reviewed and it's either identified as sewer is available or not available, that determines whether it was within the 300-foot district. If it's not available, or 300-foot direction. If it's not available, a septic tank can in fact be used, but depending on the location, most of the requirement would be that NMED does in fact have to approve the licensing of that septic. In anywhere on state highway, it's a requirement. So in this case, it would have been in that requirement because the sewer was in fact outside of that distance. So just wanted to make sure you were aware of that.
More than
moving forward.
300 feet away, so they have to meet whatever the state requirement.
Or not accessible. So in this case, because it's on the other side of Meacham, and the requirement to dig, where the location's at, there's significant amount of rock, and then they'd have to get over Meacham, that is considered not attainable, or not able to tap into.
So that's what that comment meant.
Not available, yes, sir.
No sewer, it wasn't within the.
It wasn't available to that individual.
Is there this, and this might, let's transition to community development, because this might fall under that, so this, the next item. Is there plans with the rebuilding that we're doing now to expand our sewer availability? Because to the point that was made, if we're not approving septic anymore, but septic's not available, then by default, we're approving septic. So
Sewer's not available.
sewer's not available, excuse me. So is there plans to expand sewer lines, or is it just we're trying to keep up with what we have now?
Yes. So,
Correct?
So, both. What's happening right now is anything that was damaged during the fires or floods, which actually was a significant portion of infrastructure, will either get replaced or rebuilt. FEMA will have to approve most of those. We're 90% through the review process, and they should hopefully be approving most of those in the next 2 to 3 months. What that means is we'll be getting the funding to specifically be redoing that infrastructure. On top of that, there is a $137 million grant that's been given to both Lincoln and Chavez County. That's called the CDBG-DR grant, or the Community Development Block Grant Disaster Recovery Grant. And what that does is it allows for $100 million to go to homes. The $23 million will go to infrastructure. So that $23 million will help do multiple things, but the idea is that it goes towards roads, sewer, water extension. So there's a significant amount of both sewer and water that where homes are not connected. They're either on private wells or they're on septic. And I think the number's like 42% of the village is actually still on septic. So those would be places where we're trying to actively grow sewer or provide sewer lines that we're currently not. Obviously, that all has to be approved, that has to be submitted for, and then we get a check. Whether all of that happens or not is still to be seen, but the idea would be yes. The other item is that Water Trust Board, as of next year, will start allowing sewer projects to be included, and so sewer and wastewater projects. So we are already actively looking for designs of extension for sewer lines so that we can submit to Water Trust Board so that we can in fact expand those lines. So
Just a quick, did we ever determine, is there actually a sewer line on Bonanza, the road they're going on?
there is not.
Not,
There
okay,
is
so
not.
there was
I
not
don't
a
think there's
way.
anything in that neighborhood on that side of Meacham.
I don't think there's, I know, well, there is one street, I think it's Mustang, where there's a portion of sewer that was stubbed out. I'm not sure how far, but then after that, everything 4 streets above and over is basically on septic.
Okay,
Yeah.
yeah, because that would, if it was there,
You
that
okay?
would have been easy to just do a lift station if there was a line there. But if
Yes.
there's no line there, then that,
I don't think, yes, I don't think there's anything there that people can actually tap into.
that'd be a good place. There's a lot of homes up there.
It's true. Okay, great. What other community development update would you want to provide to us? I think that was helpful. Thanks, Mike.
Yeah, that was helpful.
We are beginning the implementation of the new software for short-term rental management. That seems to be going well. We anticipate that being fully live no later than July 1st, hopefully a little bit earlier than that. And as the various components are ready to be rolled out, we will do those individually and not wait for an entire rollout. Also, we had our first ever meeting forum with our short-term rental management companies. We had that last week. We had, trying to remember how many we had in attendance, but about a third to a fourth of the units here were represented at that meeting. We're also going to have a Zoom meeting for all of the owner-operated short-term rentals to go over that same kind of information with them around the new ordinance, implementation of the new software, questions that they may have, particularly regarding the new components within the ordinance, the ban on fire pit permits, and the use of fire pits. And then also the NOAA radios as well. So that really would be about where that is. We do continue to have the normal churn in regard to the number of short-term rentals. We are inching back up closer to 1,350 is where we are with that. And I think that is all that I would like to bring to your attention.
Question in regards to the software, is the software that was, that we looked at during the committee?
Yes, it was the software that has been demoed to this commission and to the committee and also to the council. And yes, the same software was the one that was the the highest reviewed through our RFP process.
Yeah.
Have they given you an update on the number of unregistered short-term rentals?
We have not gotten an update from them as to where they think they are.
Maybe on the July meeting, we can have maybe 10 minutes on this topic. Would that be doable, where you pull up our instance, show us some of the short-term rentals? I think that would be good for all of us to see. That way we can get to that info.
Are you getting pushback on the permit fees?
We are getting some pushback on the permit fees, not surprisingly. However, I'm not sure that anybody has followed through on any kind of mention that they would not renew their license.
I have a couple of comments, if I might.
Yeah, sure.
Go, Vicki.
About the short-term rentals. I know that we didn't put an age thing for kids. We said 18 or under. I had an unusual event this last weekend. It turned out fine, but it might not have, where in a short-term rental, 3 large trucks pulled up, pulling trailers behind each truck with 2 ATVs on each trailer. And that was the short-term rental weekend. And it turned out fine. They were very considerate, but it could have turned out really bad. So I would say something like 14 and under, maybe?
Meaning for the number of people per unit, okay?
Yeah.
That's it, yeah. Now, were they
For
able?
that one, I don't think we talked
No, we
about
didn't.
trailers. Trailers, in theory, should take up a parking spot. So like, if I pull up with my truck and trailer, wouldn't that need to be 2 spots?
No, it's not counted that way.
I know, it's not. So maybe that is something else that we,
Well, as long as they, but if they got a big enough spot for it to fit, that's okay, but as long as they're not
Right.
parking it out in the street.
it might be tough to manage that, but maybe we take that as an
Yeah.
evaluation.
That's
item,
interesting.
Alex.
Yeah. That is
And then I had one other comment, and that was, I don't go all the way down Meacham, but since Paradise is closed, of course, you go Meacham to Sutter. And that whole area that started out as a kid's playground with the jumping and all that, and started food trucks in, and inside food trucks and outside food trucks, and it looks like a junkyard. I mean, I know it's not supposed to look all modern and everything, but I don't think it's supposed to look the way it does. Stuff's been piled behind trucks around the fence, even along Meacham. You can just look at it. You might have
I
some.
do think there was some things within our conditional use for mobile vending, that the primary parking lot wouldn't be used for storage. That's the one down below where it's supposed to be a putt-putt place, but from my understanding, he's getting rid of putt-putt. I don't think it's adhering to our conditional use. So some of the questions that I had, and I don't have, if the staff could take that as a takeaway.
So we've been looking into that. I do want to double check because if you don't think, and as far as the conditional use that was placed on it, can you,
It was associated with Adventure Mountain being an arcade putt-putt.
so he is maintaining everything on the bottom floor that is still an arcade and an activity area. It's the top floor that is changed into a lounge and entertainment venue.
We're talking about the parking lot over towards the,
I got us off track,
Yeah.
sorry. Yeah. But yeah,
there is a lot of stuff, and I go there frequently, and that being said, I'm curious to know how you can put up a building which was basically a carport, and that, it got enclosed, and then,
We went through multiple red tag processes over that and multiple back and forths. Him and I have met 4 times in the
you
last
don't have to
week
meet
just
the energy codes and the windows and stuff like this, yet you put heat in, and I was just wondering how you got around all this. And on one hand, I love the thing because I love the burgers and I go there frequently, but on the other hand, it's like, talk about setting a precedence, a building that doesn't meet our building
Restaurant.
codes, if it's like he found a loophole, and I'm all for loopholes. I look for them myself,
Well, no,
But-
and I wonder if this might be better taken
offline.
offline as an evaluation, because this was not a item.
Yeah.
And I don't want him to feel as though we're,
So anyways, I just thought I'd throw it out there.
yeah, I appreciate that.
One other thing, Mike, and we're struggling to get people back up here, and we all know we are. And it's a necessity that we put on social media that there is a chance of flooding, but it seems to be that we're not pinpointing the highlights of where the flooding may occur. And there's been a lot of people on Facebook, Instagram, all over social media saying, is it safe to come to Ruidoso? We see all these flood warnings and flood watches, and are we gonna be okay there? And, I don't know, maybe a little more in depth of where the flooding might occur. I think, I have people coming to shop every weekend saying, how bad did Midtown get during the flooding, I think we're still scaring people away that are potentially coming back.
So what I can say is, as part of our update, so we are actively working on a map. We were left high and dry with one map maker. We are quickly trying to find another. We do have like a cartoonist map maker that is trying to not necessarily make light of the event, but lighten the event a little bit more. We are trying to show, we have roughly 13 low water crossings we're trying to keep people away from and say, hey, if it rains, go these opposite directions. And we have almost maybe 40 businesses or key businesses that we say go here or here or here or here during those times. From a numbers perspective, I know that we've had discussions on both sides. There are some individuals that have shown that they're still hurting. They're still in that 30 to 40% below where they were at in previous years. We've had some businesses that are 200% over where they were at this year at this time, which is insane for us. From a lodger's tax perspective, we are beating all of our 2013 perspectives on sales. We are catching 2024. We've seen technically.
2013 or 2023?
Or I'm sorry, 2023, excuse me.
That was.
No.
Wow, really?
Apologize.
Research. Relevance, right?
2023 numbers.
Okay, thank you.
2023 numbers. So we're actively working. There's going to be a presentation at the next council meeting on all the marketing components that are being done, where we're putting different engagements. we are running two different pieces of information on social media about safety. So one is preparation. The other is so for the most part, we're required to post all of the warnings that do come out from the Weather Service. Now, with that being said, we are trying to actively get to that map so that we can put something on there. Problem is that map might cost us $100,000, and I don't know where we're gonna find that money right now. We are trying to find a basic map that we can put through GIS just to establish where those low water crossings are, if someone can zoom in or zoom out. We are trying to do whatever we can and get it done, hopefully before July 1. And so that is what we are currently actively trying to do.
I have a simple solution for that. Just put pins on Google Earth, share the pins of all the low water crossings and what you gotta do. That doesn't cost you anything other than Google Earth. Most people have it on their phone. I have it on my phone. You know, rather than trying to, do,
A lot of people
the
use them.
overkill with the map, just put a pin on the map, say, hey, this is a low water crossing, and this is what you need to do for this low water crossing, because you can add notes into your pins on Google Earth. And as long as you share those pins, people can look at them, and they can bring them up on their phone, and they bring it up in Google Maps, and if the pin's there, you click on it, it'll give you the information. And that doesn't cost $100,000,
Nope, and it is instantaneous.
and it's instance.
Let us look into that.
One other thing, Two Rivers Park.
So Two Rivers Park is,
Very open-ended question.
I'm assuming that means, no, I'm assuming that means
Restoration.
wet restoration. So that is a FEMA-approved project. We are waiting on reimbursements for the portion that was submitted to FEMA. We have also received the grant for the portions that are not going to be covered by FEMA. So the walking bridge, the walking bridge, the chairs, tables, and two pavilions will end up being replaced back into that area. More than likely, the funds will hopefully hit by July, mid-July or August. That's when we can start doing any type of remodeling of Two Rivers Park.
How are you gonna keep that from flooding again? It floods every time there's a flood. I mean, high water it goes.
So the structures that we're going to be putting back in are not going to be similar to the ones that were there before. They will be open metal structure pavilions so that the water can flow through them. The playground and rather than having sand in them, it's going to be a different material that is impervious to water impact and or debris impact. And I believe like microorganism, germ impact, things like that. So if dirt and water and silt and things like that get there, they can just be sprayed off. I know we're looking at a playground system. Right now, only insurance will cover the current system that's there. We're trying to identify some more funds that can replace that actual system so that it'll be able to really sustain any damage that's brought on by the floods. However, the modeling that we're looking at, anything we put back there looks like it'll get washed off again, no matter what.
But the best use for those areas where flooding, in the floodplain where we know it's gonna come down, is either open space or something similar to a park, right? Like
Yes, sir.
So it's already being a good use of space.
Yes.
It's just some of the infrastructure, I guess, is being impacted.
Biomass incinerator rumor.
Oh, gosh.
Biomass incinerator rumor.
Yeah, it's like I heard a little. Is that anything about the
social media
village, or
stuff?
is it- Yeah.
You guys should get off social media. I'll continue to beat this drum.
Yeah, me either. No.
I heard there's one proposed going in the Downs or something. Is this,
So there's,
any validity to it?
there's multiple items that came out of that question. There's a lot of different things, right? So I think if you talk about incinerators, There are incinerators in multiple areas that are going through the NMED permitting process. Whether they're in the Downs or anywhere else, I'm not 100% sure, but they all have to meet those specific requirements. There are discussions, high level, on possible investments within the community outside of regular community areas that directly relate to biofuels or bio development. Those are also going through any type of processes through the state regulatory and agencies that they have required. There is something that we are working on, high level. It's a $150 million investment to the village. That is probably something that will be disclosed in the next month or so.
Okay.
I got a
More to
question.
come.
I got a question on lodger's tax, looking at my chart here. We had in March 24, roughly 189,000, and this year we had 167,000. But what sticks out on this chart was last April, we had $340,000 in lodger's tax. What drove that in April? And have we collected that much in April this year?
So one of the things that drove last April was the Easter holiday was a little bit different than it was this year. There was also an expansion of the end of spring break. And so there's several different things that were captured in last April. We have not touched that number. It is coming higher, but it wasn't the same as last year from that April. Spring break was actually better, so the March month was higher than it was in previous years, if you look at that number, because it was spread over. Well, the spread over was higher, but the actual month of March was, it should be similar.
It was less. 2024, 189, 2025, 167.
For lodger's tax?
What it says here.
I do.
So with all that lodger's tax we're talking about, you said that lodger's tax and some GRTs or whatever were higher than
2023.
2023.
This is
Are you-
2024. I'm sorry, you're correct. I'm thinking 2023 numbers.
Yeah.
I apologize.
So are you factoring all the workers that are here? Because that's, you can't
So we do.
add that up.
So, well, we do. It gets included. But one of the things that all of the workers is that we're actually losing on lodger's tax. One of the main reasons we're losing on lodger's tax is because they're here longer than 30 days. So places like the Elegante, places that have created 30-day contracts or longer, we don't receive lodger's tax from. And so we're losing a significant amount of lodger's tax because we actually do have a lot of workers here. One of the things, and SGRT is what we're also talking about. So in SGRT, we had a $7 million increase. That is a significant amount of the construction that's been occurring. That does get counted. But anytime we do construction within the village, those annual items are reviewed, and that SGRT does count towards those things.
The reason why I ask is I'm an RMA, you know that.
Yes, sir.
And just pretty much everyone on the board and everyone in Midtown they're claiming they're down. Everyone's down. And you can say that, our numbers are better than 23, but when it comes to like eating establishments, you're going to have more money from them because we have more workers here. We don't have as many visitors here, I don't think. Just because I'm talking to retailers who specifically, rely on tourism, not on contractors or long-term people. That's why I'm asking. I don't know how we determine or how we separate that number and say, okay, our tourism dollars, our tourism is down compared to 23.
So in our breakdown for SGRT, we do have those numbers. They are listed as retail, they are listed as special use, they are listed as construction, there's a significant number of categories. Retail is down.
100%.
Could Judy break that down even
No snow.
further from,
No snow this winter.
retail includes restaurants and all that.
We
too.
can't break that down.
Not everyone.
Yes, so the way it's given to us from tax and rev is
And
that.
I think that's what Josh's point is
So many
about
people. every
there are
week.
segments of the retail that are not at the same.
So we understand that retail in general is down. And like we said, it's that 20 to 30% component that we've seen. One of the reasons that we've gone out and done the activities, Ironman, for example, Xterra, some of these other events, is specifically to engage foot traffic to come back through the village. The Municipal League, National Municipal League event that we're trying to host in September, partnering with Roswell for the Reno Air Races and bringing in that overflow traffic from here. There's a significant number of those events that we're trying to capture to significantly increase foot traffic, because we do understand that the impact to retail and tourism has been significant. But we are seeing that climb at a higher percentage than what we've seen in previous years because of what we believe are the marketing efforts that we're making right now.
So we'll go over that during council next week.
Yes, there will be a presentation next week.
Awesome.
To ask specifically about another item we're working on with the commission, can we get a timeline and an update on the metal siding subcommittee?
We have our next meeting scheduled for the 19th. On that, probably we will be ready for something in July for consideration.
Great, thank you. Just want to make sure we're still moving along on that. Other questions? It's 3:25. I hope we can wrap by 3:30, but I think this has been very informative. So what other questions do we have for the development officer, Michael? Since we got Michael, ask him questions, you know? It's
Let's
very
just
rare.
hold up Michael's time while we can.
I'm here, go for it.
He's here. He's on a, he's on a,
He's avoiding his responsibility.
you don't want to be part of the exercise, or that's tomorrow, isn't it? Yeah.
That we will be part of I'll be part of the exercise tomorrow. And then,
Sorry.
so I'm sorry, so there is a emergency management tabletop exercise that's occurring tomorrow. Council will be participating as observers. The remainder of the participants, there's 43 participants outside of the village that will be working together. This is kind of a mock EOC rundown of what happens when it rains and when it floods. So a lot of our staff is relatively new that will be tackling some of this, so we're doing that. The representatives from the other offices that are participating are relatively new, so we're trying to make sure that they're aware of what happens. But we have, for example, this weekend, we have an integrated meteorologist into our team. We're constantly in contact with them on how that's working. Our emergency manager then distributes that information to our team on the ground. They are giving him live feedback, whether if it's a snow event, whether it's icing over, whether snow's falling, if it's a rain event, where flooding's coming or runoff is happening, multiple of those items occur. So in this scenario, it talks about what occurs during a flood, where the flood's happening, if there's any swift water rescues that are needed or not needed. So it goes through that whole process. And we have everyone from National Guard to State EOC to our partners that are within the region, as well as our local staff participating in that.
Great, thank you. Cool. Other questions or comments? If not, we'll,
No, wrap it up.
Google,
Take it.
Google map pins, I'm telling you.
I'd entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
I got a motion and second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? We're adjourned.
No, Michael, it's just every weekend people come to shop and like, gosh, we were so scared we had made the plans that they thought we had like.
Right? No, you're right.
No, I mean, that's.
Yeah, at least there's that, at a minimum.
I'm just using this to emphatically agree with you that there's.
Vicki, might this be your purse down here?
Is that my purse down there? It is indeed. Thank you.
You're welcome. You'll be looking for it later
Yeah, I
and then
would.
it'll be closed.
It was good seeing you. Yes. Great. I'm gonna keep her. She's gonna keep me. That's the, yeah. You got to see her the other day? That's good. Yeah. Good. Yeah, she's happy to be back at work. She loves her little one, but she's happy to think about something other than like spit up and food and like grilling and